When Star Trek was celebrating its 30th anniversary, both Voyager and Deep Space Nine wanted to make special nostalgic episodes to celebrate. Voyager had a flashback to Tuvok serving aboard Sulu's Excelsior, and Deep Space Nine time-traveled to have a run-in with Kirk's Enterprise and some little furry ecological pests. But before that was the episode they settled on, they were considering a plot that involved going to a planet where McCoy accidentally left his communicator a century ago, and seeing the planet's culture evolve into Trekkies in the interim. It took almost another 30 years, but guys, gals, and NB pals, we now have that episode. I'm Gayfesh, and today we'll be talking Star Trek Prodigy Season 1, Episode 13, All the World's a Stage. But before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Spoilers ahead. The Diviner is awake on the Dauntless, but his fractured mind is unable to put together more than bits and pieces of information. We learned that Chakotay was kidnapped, but he doesn't know who by, and they have to put him back under to avoid neurological stress. But Janeway pieces together enough of what he's saying, coupled with the destruction of the relay station and the discovery of Frex's escape pod with no one in it, to decide that they are now on a manhunt for the Protostar. Speaking of sickness, on the Protostar, Murph seems under the weather, and given that he seems to primarily be Rok-Tahk's pet, she's very stressed about him. There's a lot of poor feelings going around. Dal is feeling discouraged by the fact they're parading around in a Starfleet vessel pretending like they're Federation when they can't even contact Starfleet. Jankum is likewise feeling inadequate as the ship's engineer, as nothing he tries with the living construct can destroy it. They beam down to the planet to answer the distress call and discover the planet is full of TOS-style LARPers who have essentially built up a cargo cult around Kirk's Enterprise because an ensign got stranded there a century earlier. The people, who call themselves Enderprisians, take on names like James T. or Sulu, talk in an exaggerated Shatner voice, and play act doing TOS-style brawls, operating the bridge, and saying a lot of catchphrases completely wrong. Live logs and proper. Dal seeing these people pretending to be Starfleet pings his guilty conscience, but Gwyn tries to get him to see the positive effects just a single meeting with the Federation had on these people a century later, when they learn there is a dangerous area called the Gallows that curses people who approach it, and Dal himself comes down with the curse after a local has it. Gwyn, Rock, and Jankum set out to investigate the area while Zero tries to synthesize a cure. Turns out that the Gallows is actually the shuttlecraft Galileo, famous for crashing on primitive worlds. Because it is leaking warp plasma and is in a cave full of dilithium, the combination is causing some kind of radiation sickness. Jankum gets to work repairing the leak on the shuttle, while Zero synthesizes the cure. But a cave-in begins, and the shuttle is precariously hanging over a cliff. They can't beam out from inside the cave, so Dal has to take the Protostar inside the cave to rescue them. But how can he do that without his crew? Well, he just so happens to be hanging out with people whose entire culture is pretending to operate the Enterprise. So he takes up a few of them, and Holo Janeway creates a holographic recreation of the Enterprise bridge for them to operate. Everyone is saved, the cave collapses to seal in the radiation, and they proceed with second contact protocols, giving the locals whatever supplies they ask for. Dal now feels like he's ready to join Starfleet, and they'll find a way to do it even if it means leaving the Protostar behind. As for Murph, who has spent the whole episode sick and in bed, Rok-Tahk finds him wrapped in a cocoon on the wall. I'm a little concerned about this development because I friggin' love that little guy and I worry any permanent change might not be for the better. But that's it for this week. Hands down, this is the best episode of the show so far. How do you like it? Leave a comment below.
So, quick question. If they used the Galileo's communications relay to contact the Protostar, why did that not activate the living construct?
Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share the video with your friends. Subscribe to my Patreon to get shouted out in future videos. Check out my Bandcamp for banging tunes, including all the tracks you heard in this video. Follow me on Twitter at GayestFesh, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Rest of Both Worlds, where I go through Star Trek The Next Generation with a friend who's never seen it. Thank you to all my patrons, with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Renee Vorbeck. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you all in the next video.